always has to be a shot at somebody.
I know.
They're never clean.
They have to run. That's the only shot they have.
They do it for 82 games. We're about to find out.
He already has shown what he's capable of.
Did surprise me. I thought we were going to hang in there.
This makes me think that we do need to be humble.
I actually think you're the only one who deserved that beating. What's going on, guys? As promised, yep.
It's
There it is.
You know
What did I say on Monday? People said, "Oh, Celtics, they won their first game of the year. Where's the hard hat?" I said, "I don't bring out hard hats for wins over the Pelicans. Okay, I will bring them out Wednesday for a win over what is supposed to be an Eastern Conference favorite, guys. But I'm not so sure about that. Regardless, hard hat win for the Celtics, 20-point blowout. And this is the definition of a hard hat win: a team that scrapped and clawed, jumped out to a big lead at points, and just did exactly what they needed to do to keep the Cavs at bay. So I'm banging the hard hat. If you bought a hard hat over the years, you better be wearing it tonight.
They didn't win. Yeah. I to me that was the thing that I think all of us were waiting for, to see when would they melt. When would they just kind of shrink the way a team that you're not supposed to beat does, and they never did. I mean, they kept fighting, they kept scrapping. When the 3-point shots stopped falling, they still played hard. They still were able to hold their own on the boards. To me, the clearest stat that lets you know the Celtics won this game was rebounding. It's the one area that they consistently get their asses kicked on a regular basis in, and yet that was the one area where, just watching this game, it felt as though this was the Chris Jackson thing, is the Al Horford, the Jason Tatum Celtics, where you may not play a great game, but you're still going to beat the crap out of teams because you just outplayed them and you outworked them. And this was probably the blueprint for what a hard hat game looks like if you're the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, and again, you got to give tip your hard hat to Joe Mazzulla. There's so much talk locally about the culture instilled by Mike Vrabel and the Patriots and how everything has changed there. But you absolutely have to look at a game like this and see buy-in, because it, like you said, it's the hustle stats. It's the 50-50 balls. It's the rebounding edge over a team that should dominate you. And again, despite having bigs, Cleveland's numbers aren't great. They're not a team that crashes, but like, this is one of those nightmare scenarios where you're like, God, they're just going to get eaten alive here. And they didn't. And they just worked harder than Cleveland. Cleveland settled for stuff. This was the loss for Cleveland that we would be killing the Celtics over for being lazy, like a few years ago, and be like, they just didn't take it seriously. They thought they'd take the easy way out. They didn't want to fight. They didn't want to get, down in the mud with the other team, and they just got outworked. They were good when the threes were falling, and when they stopped, they stopped. And that's what happened here is both teams, as you mentioned, Sherrod, off the top, and I think that's the best analysis to me here. The threes stopped falling for both teams in the second half. They were friggin' blazing hot in the first, but they really stopped falling for both. But the Celtics kept doing things to win, and Cleveland did not. And that's kind of, it kind of sums up the game for me. Real quick, let you know that show, as always, is brought to you by our pals over at Prize Picks, North America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. If this is your thing, get after it. Download the Prize Picks app. Use code CLNS. Get 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. No one does it better than Prize Picks. And, hey, we're still peddling stakes here. And, again, Jimmy told me to try to get these reads in while Noah's not on the show. Go to Omaha Steaks. It is tough. It is tough.
It's tough, yeah.
No, I don't want the B-roll. Go to omahasteaks.com. Too early for that. Too early. Go to omahasteaks.com.
It's too late.
Use code
I can't be eating burgers
at checkout. Can't be eating burgers at freaking 9:47. That's absurd. We'll let you guys know this is not, like I said, not imperative, but we love it. If you want to support the support the stream through super chat donations, that option exists, but by all means, just keep hanging and watching for free. But if you do decide to donate, the proceeds are divvied up among the hosts, which is a nice little bonus for little Jimmy. Yep. And Sherrod and all those guys. Bobby's beard money and beer money. That thing's gone.
He better not show up with a beard tonight.
He doesn't have it. He cheated on us, and he shaved it with Drew Carter the other night on a Garden Report. But anyway,
Not a real Garden.
Anyway, if you support us through Super Chats, great. We'll throw your chat up on the screen, and we will talk about it. We have a couple coming in right out of the gate. One of them, hey, Nick Barry just wants to say hard hats.
Dude, unbelievable.
There you go. There you go.
Hats off, hats off
This
for
is
that.
why we buy them. This is why we buy them, so that we can do things like this. Hard hats, steel toe
Ryan's-
boots.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Ryan
Go ahead.
Smitty, most impressive win of Joe's tenure. I wouldn't
It's a
argue with
take.
that.
It's a take.
It's up there. It's up there.
I liked it. I'm giving
like
Joe
it.
a lot of credit for this. Joe gets blame where I don't think Joe deserves blame a lot of times, because it's very easy to point to the coach. But I do think that he deserves a lot of credit for how this team is playing right now, and some of that tough love that we were talking about earlier, like burying Shireman on the bench until he gets it, or pulling Keita 3 minutes into a game.
Yeah.
I don't love it, but we'll see what he has to say here as we bring Joe Mazzulla up into the fold.
Joe, you first of all, the shooting
Hey, Sherrod.
kind of showed up in a way that it kind of hasn't for a long part of the beginning of the season. I know you're working on a lot of things. Shooting is something you've been able to rely on. Is there a kind of like a relief of some kind, of like, okay, it's something that can carry you through the learning process?
I thought what carried us through the first half was our defense and our ability to rebound the basketball. I think they had one or two offensive rebounds in the first half. They got a lot in the second half. So it's just got to be connected basketball that has to carry us. We got to force turnovers. We have to rebound on both ends of the floor. And then, I think the shooting is a plus. And I think the shooting is coming from us getting our legs underneath us, playing a different way, having the body's getting used to that. Because we're obviously playing a little bit different. So I think it's starting to kind of, catch up on that. And
you found like kind of some timely plays towards the end of the third quarter. You had a little quick 6-0. Derek, Anthony, and Nimi contributed. Josh in little pockets there. It's just something that maybe hasn't been happening. Like, is that just you see these guys kind of like sticking with the process? Is this kind of like the result of the stuff that you've been asking for?
Yeah, I think those plays in the quarters were offensive rebounds, transition layups, and I think getting to the free throw line. So just the simple details of how we have to close quarters and buying into that. So we just got to consistently be able to do that. They went on a couple runs. I thought we did a good job of sustaining those with our defense and our offense, but we were able to close the second quarter 3-1 on a play, and then we were able to do that in the third, like you were talking about.
Joe, have you seen Josh take advantage of his opportunities in these last couple of games?
Yeah, he's done a good job. Just has an understanding of what the standard is, how he has to play, compete. Just his ability to make plays on both ends of the floor, his versatility. So still gave up some plays. He's got to get better at that. So, he'll continue to work at it.
Joe, Jaylen is playing super efficient basketball so far to start the season, but he's not taking like more shots than he was last year, at least so far. How have you seen him take on what is inevitably going to be a new role with more pressure, yet maintain that level of efficiency, that level of play?
I don't think he would label it a new role or more pressure. I think that's what outside people are saying. He's not saying that. He's saying I have to play my game and do what the team needs me to do to win. So that's just not how he operates. He operates doing what the team needs. I think some of the changes that we made have kind of played to his strengths as far as the pace offensively and the defensive activity. And, you're reaping the benefits of that efficiency. And so he's getting to his spots. He's making the right play, and he's competing defensively. So I just think that's how he looks at it. He just wants to win, wants to do what it takes to win. And, like you said, he's been playing well.
And then you mentioned the rebounding in the first half being a catalyst for you guys. What have you seen the difference in this game and in the Pelicans game versus the first three? Like is there anything tactically, or is it just, that?
No, I just think it's one of those things that you have to make the choice every day when you wake up that you're going to rebound on both ends of the floor. It's just when you wake up in the morning, you got to just make that choice. So it's not something that we figured out. We have to remind and watch it tomorrow, and then we're going to either do good or we're not, and then we're going to remind and do it again. So it's just one of those habits and disciplines that never goes away, and you just constantly have to work on it.
Joe, building on that, how do you, from your perspective as a coach, how do you cultivate that consistency on the glass?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just gotta talk about it every day and talk about it. I think the effort that we have going after them is been top notch. I think, especially over the last couple. You're not going to play perfect in them, but if you get two hands on it, get it, and then just have effort to go get it. So, guys have done a good job of that.
Joe, are you impressed with how hard you guys are playing? With just like the constant movement, intensity.
Yeah.
It's not, maybe the execution isn't always there, but just is that pleasing you?
Yeah, it is. I think the guys have made a commitment to that. So, when you have a group of guys and in the training camp that we have, there's an identity that we have to play to. There's a full understanding of what that identity is, and it's a credit to the guys. It's a commitment that it takes every single night on both ends. That this is the way we have to play. We have to leverage our strengths, and we're starting to really see what those strengths are, and it's a credit to them buying in and doing it. So, 5 games in, we got 77 left. We got to do it every night.
And is this kind of a night where, like, how hard you play, kind of, and the depth all kind of blended into?
Yeah, I think it's I think from game one to now, you've seen multiples of like the best version of what we can become, and now it's a product of like, can we continue to build and develop more of that? But there was a lot of minutes over the last 2-3 games where we've had like, this is who we have to be, like you're saying, the depth, the ability. I thought, even Baylor's 5 or 6 possessions on Donovan Mitchell, he executed the game plan. So just getting 11, 12 guys that can play the way we need to play on both ends of the floor.
Didn't see that coming.
To grow as a team. So like you said, it's a credit to them.
Fishy out of the doghouse.
So you said
that was not on my bingo card.
Legs on you from a shooting perspective with the new style. What makes you feel that way? Is that just something you're seeing, or guys are saying?
No, I mean, I just would imagine with playing a different style and how the pace that we're playing with on both ends, it just kind of takes a game or two to kind of get your legs under you. So used to playing a certain type of way, and now we're not. And so I think, I would just imagine that would be the case.
How much did you anticipate that when you were kind of coming up with the new style here? And
I just thought about it when Corrales asked me.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
And
Okay.
there you have it, Joe Mazzulla. Boy, has he been nice since he whooped up on those poor bastards in that game, right? So nice. Really, really, really nice.
It was a good bonding.
There is
a
a humming going on in the background. I cannot figure out who's got it, Jimmy.
Yes, you can. Okay, ready? Ready?
Oh, God, Jimmy, that is brutal, dude. It's like you're running a vacuum cleaner through your friggin' computer. Please go away.
Oh, Jimmy.
Okay, leave us. Leave Sherrod. Leave us in peace and quiet. I don't know. I'm throwing this up there. It has nothing to do with anything Joe said, but I do want to address it. I don't know if someone saw me in the Zoom factory. If you did, I'll answer. I'll answer your. I've been going there since day one, and I will answer your question. Oh yeah, because I was working at NECN when those guys opened, and we would go down there all the time, right around the corner. My favorite, I have the Soup Factory cookbook at home, and they don't have this soup in the recipe book, and it drives me insane. The African chicken peanut soup is the bomb, and it doesn't last. People go in there and they buy like quarts and quarts of it and freeze it, and if you don't catch it, you got about a 12-hour window where that stuff is gone. But that stuff is great. I also wanted to put up, I might have lost a comment, but I think someone might have been Walrus who put it up there. Talking about, a lot of what they're talking about here. Like, yeah, Joe's looking for effort, but it is interesting that they are, and again, I can't find the comment, but I'll say it, more athletic right now. Just, hi, Jimmy.
Is that better for your little ears?
Oh God, a little bit better, but
it's not coming from me.
Yes, but they are. You do see little bursts of athleticism that you weren't like. Not that they were unathletic. And again, people get so mad. They're like, "Dude, Jason Tatum's a 6'10" freak. How can you say that?" Just that's not what I'm talking about. You had again an older Holiday who's a great basketball player, but he's not the most dynamic athlete in the world. He's just an amazing basketball player. Kristaps Porzingis is not running up and down the court. Al Horford, again, he's an absolute physical marvel at his age. But these are not like the type of athletes that you see in the NBA that just give people fits with their athleticism. And we've talked about how the Celtics have struggled against athleticism. It was really interesting to see another team struggles with the Celtics. Tenacity, athleticism, reaching in, all of that stuff. And I think that, and again, in the absence of, the quality of basketball player that you had and lost, I understand these last couple of games are a really good snapshot of maybe whatever blueprint that Joe had set out. I'm going to look at this team. And again, I like this about coaches a lot, and I'm going to give a lot of credit to Joe. Just based on what we're seeing in the last couple of games is I hate coaches. And you see this in football all the time. We play a system. We play this way. This is how I want to play. Can't do that. Got to play to your people. Got to play to your personnel. He looked at this roster and said, we can't do this, but I think we can do that. And right now they're doing it. And you got to feel pretty good about it. I mean, who chalked this one up as a W? I mean, this was a game where you're like, man, early in the season, this is going to be a tough one for them. And again, they're missing Garland, they're missing Strus, they're missing a couple key players. Fully healthy, it's a good team, but I mean, the Celtics made them look like ass tonight.
Yeah, and it it was a 20-point win, and once you got past about the midway point of the second quarter, it really never felt as though Cleveland was going to find a way to win this game. If anything, it would be Celtics losing it. It would be the Celtics losing and not necessarily Cleveland winning it, because Cleveland just could not do anything that gave anyone confidence that they were going to rally and win this. And the thing about Joe that just kind of piggyback off of that is I think Joe is not overthinking the process. I mean, he looked at what Ugo could do. He looked at what Minott could do and said, okay, I'm going to play Minott more because he's playing better. He's doing the things I want to be done out there. Is he perfect? Hell no. Does he take bad shots? Absolutely. But he gives you so many other things that no one else on this team has the ability to do with the consistency that Joe's looking for. That's why he's out there playing. And Luka Garza, who, he is very – it's challenging for him to move out there defensively, yet he's still out there giving you good play on the glass. And at some point, I'm sure we're going to talk more about Keita, who, again, I just thought that this was probably his best game this year in terms of looking at who he was matched up against and how he performed against those guys.
I think getting these guys to buy in, it might not be as hard as maybe some people thought, because if you look down that roster, Sherrod, everybody but Brown and White, I mean, they've got a lot to prove. They've got a lot to prove for whether it's their roles, whether it's if they belong in the NBA or if they can get that next contract. A lot of these guys are on short deals or on low money deals. They're coming from losing organizations. They're coming from diminished roles on other teams. And this is a great opportunity for them. So this is their time to make the most of their playing time, right? And play hard. I think that's really what it comes down to. If Mazzulla has been able to convince these guys that they can, if they play hard, they'll get playing time and good things will happen, then you see you get what you saw tonight. If I'm a Cavs fan, I am so freaking disappointed in that performance tonight. It felt like the Celtics just instilled their will. And we haven't had to watch the Celtics play that way a lot, right? Because they've always been the team that can, they frustrated us at times because they could kind of coast through a game and eke one out. And then we say, well, they're not going to be able to play like that in the playoffs. But we were just sit through 82 games of it and wait for the playoffs and see which Celtics team was going to show up, right? I mean, we've had seasons like that. This year is different because they can't play that way. They have to be the team that plays hard and maybe surprises the opponent. And tonight was a perfect example of that. You might even call it a quote-unquote trap game for the Cavs, who thought that they could probably come into Boston, where the Cavs, Celtics are.
They absolutely did.
They eked one out. They're nowhere close to what they should be. But the Cavs superstars fell flat on their face. Donovan Mitchell used to be a killer. And maybe he's hurt. I know they talked about his hamstring. He came out on fire tonight and completely disappeared for the last three quarters. So that is a tough look.
Yeah, I'm going to assume that's what it was. I'm going to assume he was a little limited in the second half because he was on fire in the first half and the shot just wasn't falling.
Yeah, I mean,
his shot wasn't falling. The whole damn team's all the Cavs were doing in that second half was just chucking threes, and it was ugly. Brick after brick after brick. They got a couple more offensive rebounds in the second half. That's kind of was the difference, but they could not and did not want to work.
But he started the season on fire this year. 31-35, 24-35 before today. Popped up out of nowhere with a little hammy. So again, I mean, he was, not just scoring, shooting like 65% from the field.
No, he's been unreal.
Was absolutely just scorching hot to start the year. So, caught him on a good night. Again, the no Garland thing absolutely makes a difference. Mobley played horribly. I forgot Jared Allen existed. Lonzo, who's been giving them good run, was a 0 in this game.
Lonzo, ugly shoot.
Ugly. And he's been doing some good things for them. As far as flipping it to the Joe side of things and the Celtics side, we talked about this last game. A couple people putting it in the chat as well. That eventually, you're going to come out there and Joe's going to play 10, 11, 12 guys, but eventually you're going to try to find a little bit more of a balance and cut that thing down. It was cut down a little bit tonight. Not completely. He still got a lot of guys in the game, but in terms of who played significant minutes, you had the starting 5 plus Hauser, Simons, and Garza. That's 8. Okay, that 8 guys really played real minutes. Shireman got 10, but 2.5 were garbage time. He really only played 6-7 minute stint there. A lot of donuts there, but Joe gave him a little bit of praise. So again, working his way out of the doghouse. Ugo only played 3 minutes before getting in at garbage time again. Jordan Walsh is completely buried. He never to be seen again. Boucher, TNT. Tillman again. Tillman a 4-minute stint and gone. You're seeing these guys kind of slipping out of the rotation a little bit, and they're locked in. That starting 5 right now,
this is their best.
I think that's what they've got with and you've got Simons and
I want to see Ugo though,
and Garza coming off the bench for a little bit of scoring. That's going to be probably the best that this team is going to do. Could you get Boucher in there over Garza in some cases? Yeah, probably. And you want to see Shireman earn those minutes, and you want to see Ugo earn those minutes. But honestly, he's just not going to get consistent minutes being a total 0 on offense. I think people are going to have to wait there until he gets a little bit more comfortable. His energy is great, but you can't just do one thing and one thing only. He's going to have to, develop the shot a little bit more, get more comfortable on the offensive end. But those minutes will come for him too. I could see him kind of cracking in there. But right now it feels like they're a little bit more settled. Only 5 games in. I don't know that we're going to be seeing 11, 12 guys playing like equal minutes across the board.
No, I think they've got a solid 7 that are going to play every night. That's starting 5 plus Simons and Hauser. And then I think another 2 to 3 guys will kind of be part of this, grab bag. But what we're starting to see, though, this is Hunger Games basketball version for the Celtics. And some of these guys are going to find themselves, last year they had like the Stay Ready crew. This year, you're going to have the passport ready crew because some of these guys are going to have to get that passport out a year from now to play basketball because they will not be in the NBA.
You like Minott in the starting lineup, Sherrod?
With this team, absolutely. Next year, I like him as my 7th or 8th man. I think he's perfectly suited for what they need in that kind of energy off the bench role. And he's getting a chance to get comfortable with Joe Mazzulla and his system this year as a starter. And he knows that, his days as a starter will end when Jason Tatum gets back, which is no problem. But make the most of the opportunity.
We're going to have that conversation.
That
depends what they need on any given night, right?
We're gonna have the Minott Tatum conversation when he comes back. I'm not ready to give it up.
Sugar.
No, what I will say, I agree, Sherrod. That's kind of what I said about a couple of these guys earlier, and my general feeling about the team and why I think sustained success is going to be difficult because people are punching above their weight a little bit. And everybody's being asked to do more than they're comfortable doing. That's why you saw, maybe White struggle a little bit as an alpha offensive option. Pritchard, again, in the starting lineup there, the looks aren't as easy to come by as when he's playing alongside Tatum and all the gravity that he creates there. So you're going to have some issues there. But then the bench guys, like we said it before, like Minott would have been an amazing addition on this team last year, great energy guy, come in off the bench, give you wing minutes, spell Tatum and Brown, play fast, hit the boards, play some defense. Like that's what you needed. Like that's a great complementary piece. Is it enough in a starting lineup to be able to kind of, win you enough games to get you out of the play-in conversation? I don't know. Let's see. But you have to love everything about it right now. And right now it's a matter of, it's opportunity, and he's killing it. He's killing it. This guy averaged
Easy.
5. This Bailey Kennedy, Bailey. Our guy Bailey.
Leave Bailey alone, man. He's just trying to work behind the scenes for
hates Josh Minott. He hates
him.
No.
What? No, he doesn't.
Our producer, Bailey Kennedy, he's at the Garden right now. And yeah, he's saying this is a lie on text. He warned us. He's like, this guy, he's a weird kid who likes the weird teams. Okay. One of them is the Timberwolves. I no one can explain it, but he had the intel on Minott, and he's like, oh guys, you have no idea. This guy's brutal. Yeah.
He's not alone. We posted one Minott clip, and we got 8 Wolves fans laughing at us, being like, just wait until you see him during a game. Well, you know what? New change of scenery, right? I mean, sometimes that's all it takes. Obviously, playing with different players is going to affect how you play as well. But sometimes that's all it takes for a player. New city, new organization, feels like he's got a fresh start, and he's taking with it. And sometimes coaching can mean everything to certain players. And maybe Joe's style of play is exactly what Minott needed to get a little bit of a boost, get a little oomph, get a little pep in his step, make him go that extra mile there. So I agree. I think he's great in this starting lineup because he's not a guy that's going to demand the ball. He's not looking for his shots, but he's going to give you athleticism. He's going to run the floor, which is what they've been preaching early to start this season. And he's going to get guys open looks. Hopefully, if it's drive and dish, whatever it might be. I like his athleticism. I like his energy, and they need energy guys. His length. Yeah. They need energy guys. You're not going to move with just a team of energy guys. But if you can fit them into certain roles, Sherrod, and maybe his is in that starting lineup, and it brings a scorer off the bench in Hauser that can come in. And by the way, Hauser tonight was unbelievable. 5 threes in that first quarter when, again, it wasn't that type of game. Even though the Celtics dropped 75 points, they did it in a weird way. I mean, it was Hauser, 5 of 6 from 3, and then the Celtics went on this crazy, an 18-3 run in the last 3 minutes of the game of the second quarter. So it was a weird way how they got there. It wasn't exactly, I wouldn't say it was a traditional way, but they figured it out. And I never would have thought this Celtics team was going to end up with 75 points at halftime this year, just not based on the way they're designed. So all credit to them. And, the way that they finished that second quarter completely dictated, it allowed them to sort of play a little bit more in control in that second half where they weren't hitting shots. Neither team was hitting shots, but the Celtics were able to kind of stave off a complete Cavs comeback by jumping out to that lead that they did. So,
well, Minott gives them balance. He gives that starting unit a legitimate kind of balance about how they're going to play. And by having him as a starter, it gives your second unit major offensive firepower. I mean, you look at Simons could get buckets. Hauser, a bad year for Hauser is shooting 40% from three-point range, which for most players is like the apex of what they can do. And so they have a starting unit that I think is built to compete more so than some of the other lineups that Joe has thrown out there. And that second unit is probably, from an offensive scoring standpoint, as good as most, I'd say top 5, top 10.
I was just going to say that. 6 and 7 being Simons and Hauser. That is 2 of the better three-point shooters in the NBA coming off the bench for you, and coming in at a point where it can kind of really jolt your team midway through the first or whenever it is.
Right. And I thought Pritchard did as good a job as we've seen him this year of getting guys the ball. And it wasn't just Hauser. It wasn't just Jaylen. He was actually doing a nice job of spraying the ball around for change because that's not what he does.
I appreciate this one, Walk. One of my favorite things that go. One of my favorite things that goes.
It's our people.
One of my we got JB. We're going to talk about him too. Let me get it on there.
He's muted.
The first unmuted. 2 games that when you guys were losing, you had struggled second quarter, fourth quarter. What's the difference in tonight's game where you guys were able to have a really good second quarter and you were able to close the game out?
Rebounding. I think we rebounded really well. Our first shot defense has been really good, but we rebounded at a really good rate. Josh and Nimi both on the glass were exceptional, and that's what we're going to need going forward. I think rebounding is one of the, it's probably one of the most obvious things in basketball, but it makes a huge difference. I think rebounding was great for us tonight.
We talk about the rebounding. I mean, I think there's a tendency in the NBA. A lot of people turn and look, and now you guys are kind of forced to find bodies and stuff like. What's just from like a culture change when it comes to the rebounding and putting in the more effort? What's that like?
It's just an emphasis, one, but also just kind of getting a rhythm. Rebounding is an art, it's a skill, just like shooting, just like passing, just like anything else. You got to have timing. You got to have a feel for where the ball is going to come off. It's a long shot, long rebounds. You got to get into the fight. It's an art form. So just being able to, watch the film and see where we made mistakes, where we were just terrible on the glass in the last 3 games, we were able to come out tonight and make up for that.
Jaylen, Joe was just talking about how he thinks playing with this fast pace this season kind of plays to your strengths individually. What was your reaction when you realized this is kind of how you guys were going to play this year? Were you like pumped about it? And how do you think it suits kind of your game?
I think it suits my game for sure. Just being able to get out and explore my athleticism and things like that, and then find a rhythm, etc. We got a bunch of shooters, so being able to find them. Cleveland's a team that likes to they have heavy shifts, and I made a couple turnovers early in the game where you just got to get off it a little bit earlier. But just being able to get out and run and play basketball, at the end of the day, it's your job to come out and have fun and play ball. So I feel like I'm one of the best at that. So just coming out and just playing, that's it.
Were you actually calling LeBron last night on your stream?
Yeah.
More seriously, what was your reaction when the internet kind of went crazy over that? And how did you take that? How did you respond to that? What went into going live about it, kind of making a joke about it?
I mean, it was my birthday, so I was feeling great, to be honest. Got a Jaylen Brown day in Boston, which is pretty awesome. I'm not sure how many athletes get the privilege of having their own day, but that was my birthday, so it was a pretty good day for me. And then I just wanted to come out the next game and respond and get a win. Starting out the season 0-for-3, not ideal. So that was more on my mind than anything, just losing basketball games.
And then Josh Minott talked about how he's kind of embraced, defense first. That's what you guys need from him. How has his ability to embrace the energy stuff impacted you guys since he's been in the starting lineup?
Josh has been great. We just got to keep building on it. I'll be talking to him. Just keep building on it. Keep being consistent. Keep, rebounding. All of that stuff is great. That's going to make huge contributions to our team. So I'm going to just stay in his ear. But tonight was an excellent game from him. That's exactly what we need. And then on offense, he was able to get out and be aggressive a little bit, hit a couple shots when he was open. So hopefully that builds his confidence, because we're going to need that consistently from him. And I think he can do it. I think he's talented enough to do it. So just going to keep building on it.
Last 2 questions, Bob, and then Justin.
In regards to Nimi's screening, what have you seen in terms of the impact of his picks being able to lead to positive outcomes offensively?
Nimi's been, he works on that all the time, his screening, and reading how the defense is guarding and then getting out quick. So he's learning as well. He's learning and he's building. He had a great rebounding game. He's been screening well all year. I'm looking forward to trying to get him some easy ones to get him going on defense and stuff like that as the season goes on, as we build some chemistry. But, I'm definitely seeing us building in the right direction. Sometimes it results in wins. Sometimes it results in losses. But as long as we continue to develop and get better, that's the most important thing for this group right now, to learn and get better. And sometimes just you got to do it through experience. Can't expect it just to come in, a bunch of new guys to come in and expect to know how to win and know how to – we're going to learn. We're going to build. And I know we're not going to make any excuses, but it's a great challenge, and I'm excited for it.
Jaylen, you talked a couple times about
like learning throughout the season here. Where do you guys feel like you guys are at in that process? I understand it's still early, like you just said.
Super early. It's been, the season just started a week and a half ago. Some of these guys are starting in the NBA for the first time. Some of these guys are playing roles in the NBA for the first time, getting real minutes for the first time in their career. So there is a lack in experience to some degree, but through our coaching staff, preparing them for the game, and then having other great players around them, smart players around them, trying to help them make it easier for them in a sense, and help them get more comfortable, get more confident, so they can be consistent throughout the year. But it'd be mistakes at times, and as a team, we learn and we take our hits together. But we're super early in that stage. Like, great win tonight, but this is not our peak. We got a long way to go, and I'm looking forward to getting there.
Thank you, Jaylen.
And that was Jaylen Brown. He did address the hair thing, which, again, I liked. I liked that he did that. I like the self-awareness of that situation personally. So that was good stuff. And we are going to talk Jaylen Brown for sure, because Jaylen
give Jaylen his flowers.
People are asking for it, and we will absolutely give Jaylen his flowers. He was freaking unbelievable. It's not just he was good. It's the efficiency through the first 5 games here, which is off the charts. Good. Someone asked a personal question, so I'll answer it really quickly. Is that a Brothers or a Warren Hayes shirt? This is Soulshine, the benefit concert they did at MSG. Warren Haynes, Derek Trucks, Goose, Trey, Trombone Shorty.
That was a great show.
Guy. Who's the Night Sweats guy? Nathaniel Ratliff. And obviously and Dave Matthews as well. That was a fun show. That was a fun time. We're going to get to Jaylen Brown in just a little bit, but we do have to tell you, take a little pause for the cause here and tell you about our pals over at Prize Picks. And again, you guys know the deal right now. The sponsor of the Garden Report and the #1 daily fantasy sports app in all of North America. Prize Picks, you know about it. We all make decisions every day, but Prize Picks, you can get paid. You know what it is. You can get paid. Don't miss the excitement this season. Doesn't matter what season, basketball, hockey,
paid to play.
Football. You have the perfect storm right now. It's all, as they would say in one of my favorite movies of all time, Almost Famous, it's all happening. It's all happening right now with Prize Picks. Pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. Prize Picks has injury reboots, flex play. You can cash out early, even if your picks aren't perfect, and lots of cool things, free squares, all of that stuff. And you see that right on the screen right now. That's all you have to do. Download it. Use code CLNS. Pick more, pick less. Right
more
there.
Ohtani.
2 to 6 player stat projections. That's all you have to do. Download it right now. Code CLNS. Get 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Once again, 50 in your lineups when you download the app. Use that code CLNS. You get 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
Right.
It is, right? Couple more super chats.
Run your game.
Couple more super chats, and we are going to talk about it. Joe Mazzulla messing with Bobby. Yeah, he likes to do that. He does. Bobby's never going to. That's how they do it.
I don't think Bobby gets it. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
That's how they do it. Give Brown his flowers. We've been trying to talk about this one for a while. Eric's trying really hard to get that in there, and we're about to give Brown his flowers. No question about it. The Bigs and JB won this game for us. I'm not going to argue with that as well, though I want to give a quick shout out to Peyton Pritchard as well, who, again, he's still not shooting it great, but he ran the offense tonight, and he had a bunch of assists, and I thought that was great. Give JB his flowers. Yep, it's coming. And NHC77, JB definitely has his 3-point shot back. It's been like 3 years since it's looked this good. The whole team looked connected tonight. The second Mobley got the ball, Celtics players all over him. That's exactly right. Absolutely swarming all day. But we're not going to talk about swarming defense. We're not going to talk about energy. We're not going to talk about those guys. We're going to talk about Jaylen friggin' Brown, because that's what we do on this show sometimes. We sometimes talk about Jaylen Brown. And I look, everyone's going to freak. Like, any criticism towards Jaylen Brown this year has really been that he looks like he's working his way back from something. Still waiting for that explosive athleticism. Even without it, except for the 7 turnover game, he's been a remarkably efficient player offensively with his shot and his shot selection and what he's able to do. Right now, he's one of the most efficient offensive players in the league, shooting about like 52-48 splits right now, which is just absurd. And he did it again, 12 of 20, field goals, 4 of 9 3-point. Just, a terrific all-around Jaylen Brown game. And Joe talked about it, and this is what I find interesting. You would assume this year with Jason Tatum out that Jaylen Brown would just have to go nuclear and launch the ball 25, 26 times a game to generate offense, and that he would not take that opportunity because he was greedy, take that opportunity because, well, shit, someone's got to score, right? He's not doing that at all. He is. We're not going to say he's working people into it. His assist numbers aren't super high. He had that one super high potential assist game, but he's not forcing the issue. He's just, Joe said it, he's not trying to do anything. We said he was going to try to do it. Everyone was like, MVP season incoming. Jaylen's going to have to go nuclear without Tatum. He's not doing that. He's just playing like Jaylen Brown, but right now a little bit better. Like, he's just doing certainly, at the very least with the shot, the way that it looks right now, he just looks really, really smooth. And if he's being hampered only by the hamstring strain, and that gear is coming and that explosive athleticism fully returns, boom.
Yeah. No, it's great to see Jaylen has figured out how to just continue to be impactful without being a ball hog. If you get the vibe that there's a certain amount of empowerment that Jaylen wants those around him to have. And I think the first few games, I think they struggled with that because I think they were kind of looking for the same thing we were, that, okay, Jaylen, it's your team. Take over. Do what you do. And Jaylen's kind of like, nah, we got to do this thing together. I'm going to get my shots. Don't get me wrong, but you need to get some shots too. I think Jaylen understands that everyone has to eat on this team in order for them to really be a good team. You look at tonight, Derek White is still looking for his shot to go down, and he took just as many shots from the field as Jaylen did. They both took 20. And then you add a guy like Anthony Simons coming off the bench, he's going to get some shots. You throw in Sam Hauser, who's going to get great looks, and I love when Sam is just letting it fly, not even thinking about it. Just if you're open, raise up, knock it down, do what you do. And when you start looking at all those different players who are in different roles that are going to be called upon to do more in those roles, it kind of makes sense for Jaylen's numbers to be a little bit similar to what they've been in the past. But to me, the difference, and as you pointed out, John, he's so much more effective and efficient with his game now. You don't feel as that he's taking as many forced shots as I think he did at times when it was basically him, Tatum, and a bunch of other guys. And maybe this is what Jaylen needed to figure out what exactly he needs to do when Tatum comes back. How can he be effective and be efficient?
Yeah, and listen, I'll be the first to say that I was one of the people that thought that Jaylen Brown was going to try to feel, and by the way, rightfully so, feel that he needed to do more and do maybe too much. And when I still look at this roster, I still feel like there are going to be games where he is going to have to do more. And it's great that he's playing smart. I think the main thing is it feels like he's playing smarter basketball. Now, I will say there was a game not too long ago, 7 turnovers. That's probably not the one we want to talk about. And that might be an example of him maybe trying to do a little too much. But right now, he's letting the game come to him a lot more than he's trying to go to the game. And I think that's a good thing right now. And maybe part of it has to do with him coming back from something like John mentioned. I still want to see Jaylen Brown kick it into another gear athletically or physically. I don't think we've gotten that yet. But to your guys' points about the shooting, he's taking good shots. He's not taking, John, you probably have lost a lot of hair watching some of the shots that Jaylen Brown has taken, pulling out some of your hair the last few seasons. I don't think that's happening this year so far. So you don't have to show us. We believe we know it's under there. But I think
Jimmy, come visit me. Come visit me in 15 years when you reach this age, and let's compare where your hair is. I'm doing perfectly fine.
Depends.
I'll tell you that.
If I'm going to be wearing this helmet, if I'm going to be wearing this hard hat for the next 15 years, you might be right.
No one weeping for me and what I've got, the salad I've got going up there. I'm doing okay.
No, that wasn't a shot at you. That was a shot at Jaylen Brown. That was a shot at Jaylen Brown.
I know.
Not this season. I think he's making the smart shots. I think he's making the right reads. I do think there are going to be games where he is going to have to go into takeover mode. I don't know when those are, but he's going to have to identify those moments. He certainly didn't need to do that tonight, but he's dropped 40 this year. So I think he understands at certain points he needs to be a little bit more aggressive, and he does need to focus on scoring. But it's all about understanding what the situation is and knowing what's called for you. So I definitely give him my flowers.
We will get back to Jaylen Brown in just a little bit. We're also going to welcome Bobby and Noah into the mix. We're going to hear from Josh Minott, who is now everybody's favorite Celtics. Sorry, I claimed him first. Noah and Bobby can't have him. Those are the rules. You come late to the show. That's how it works, guys. I'm sorry. First off, that's how it goes. You got to be here from the start, or else, stuff's going to happen. But at first, we got to tell you about our pals over at Omaha Steaks. And oh, man. Every time I play this B-roll, I just can't. Let's
go.
Anyway,
dinner, sir.
So good. Anyway, meal planning, holiday hosting, whatever you're doing this time of year can be difficult. Just make it easier for you. Take advantage of Omaha Steaks, having them sent to you certified tender steaks right to your door. You go to omahasteaks.com right now. There's a 50% off site-wide sale. In addition to that, you put the code in Patriots at checkout. That's an extra $35 off. Again, omahasteaks.com, extra 35 off with the promo code Patriots. I've already ordered mine, 2 different boxes, a set of steaks and a roast that's coming in and around Christmas. I'm very excited for that. Unrivaled quality and variety. Every bite is backed by the 100% guarantee. Grass-fed, grain-finished beef, more marbling for exceptional flavor. Choice of steakhouses and professional chefs around the world. So again, one more time, omahasteaks.com, 50% off, site-wide sale, and an extra 20% off on select favorites during their early Black Friday sale, an extra $35 off when you use the code Patriots at checkout. Once again, omahasteaks.com, Patriots at checkout, $35 off. Terms apply. That is that. What do you guys got?
I'm just laughing at you, man. That's all.
Oh, no, I'm getting after it. Let's bring in our guys. What's going on?
What's up?
Noah and Bobby. Hey, guys. What's going on?
Beardless Bobby.
Celtics win. What are you doing that on a sideshow?
Look at Bobby. Speaking of Omaha Steaks, how about this beefcake?
What do you mean on a
you want me to
sideshow?
bring it to the garden and put it all over the thing here?
Yes, you wanted it to be more public than that?
No, we didn't like the idea.
Right here.
I can't believe that Drew Carter sat through you shaving your beard on a stream.
I know you were locked in on Jaylen getting his haircut, so I don't want
to. I wasn't. I was actually playing a basketball game. Thank you very much.
I
wasn't watching anybody shave.
I think we're the only people you could have done that
on Twitch.
No, I didn't watch anybody's haircut.
Please.
We're the only.
Did Jaylen even get his haircut?
I don't know.
I
was too busy cutting my own.
He didn't do anything.
Bobby, you look like
he just was doing a bit.
I like the bit.
The clips were hilarious.
Noah's a little jealous.
Of what?
Of me or Jaylen?
Bobby's dashing good looks right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right, guys, let's get into the game here. What did we like? And again, we've listed many things because we've been doing this for a while. But among the things we've talked about, and again, you guys can kind of you can start wherever you want. We've definitely talked about the rebounding. Great job from the front court. Minott comes back in as a starter again. It feels like this is going to stick, this lineup, but he and Hauser terrific on the glass.
That's where I was going.
Really bullied the Cavs bigs. They outplayed them. They outplayed Allen and Mobley, which is crazy to me. Mitchell, I don't think was himself in the second half there. It is what it is. Jaylen Brown, remarkably efficient. Peyton Pritchard still not shooting well, but he ran the offense tonight, so he was great. And we didn't give Hauser any love yet, but I think he deserves it because he knocked down all those shots. And one of my favorite things in Celtics land is the no dip three. When Hauser has that thing going.
I asked him about that, John, because it's remarkable how it's become
I love it. It's unreal. I've never seen anyone.
5 years ago, nobody was shooting no-dip threes, and now
No.
Sam Hauser just shoots them all the time.
And
So,
he doesn't just, I've never seen anyone dip less on a no dip. Most people will bring it a little. He catches it in his brow and he just immediately, it's like, it's volleyball. I've never seen
He was
anything like
thrilled
that.
We asked about the no-dip threes. He
I
was
asked.
like-
So no asked
love
about
it.
it. She left for Jaylen, and I kept asking about it because it is really
He
fun.
really, like, lit
So,
up, yeah.
Like there's not much you can talk to about with Sam about, right? Because his role is pretty basic. It just kind of catch and shoot threes. But with something like
Did you
that,
shoot good tonight? Yeah.
yeah, with something like that, it actually is really fun. And
Yeah.
I find
it's so true. That's always what I think when he comes over.
I do find when we can really get into the mechanics of shooting with him, this is legitimately one of the best shooters in the world. So to actually hear from him about something like that was really cool. I know we have some video of it coming through, so maybe we can play that. But that was awesome. But I got to go with the double big, the new age double big, John. I don't know if you would describe it as that, but that's pretty much the impact they're getting from Minott and Cada. 26 rebounds, constant energy on the glass. They dominated in this game, the offensive rebound department again. And you asked it, John, like, are they going to keep tinkering with lineups? Are they going to settle into a stable rotation? And I said no. We're probably going to keep seeing mixing and matching here. I don't know how you feel about it, but I think they found their starting lineup.
They shrunk it tonight.
Yeah.
So
right now,
they did shrink it down. You'd say, really, you're looking at 8 people who played significant minutes tonight.
I think they figured it out a little bit.
Yeah. So go ahead, Noah. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I think that's a great combination right now. I still maintain that this team will go as far as Neemias Queta will go. And these last 2 games, he's been great. Like tonight, he was out rebounding Evan Mobley and Jared Allen and battling for every loose ball. And just no part of him was a liability on the floor. And he is playing a pretty central role. I think Josh said afterwards, like he is playing a focal point role in the offense and Josh is not. And to think that that's, how many responsibilities he has right now on both ends of the floor, like it's pretty remarkable that he went from where he was last year, not playing in the NBA, to now having such a pivotal role on both ends. And you can see that there's an adjustment with the minutes and everything. But this game showed me that it's not going to be every single night like this. But the fact that he was able to get up and perform the way he did against a very good front court, not the Pelicans like second string front court, which was a little bit less certain, really encouraging, because that is ultimately, like, if he struggles all year, they're going to struggle all year. And if he doesn't, I think the ceiling is much higher than maybe people think.
So I just want to get this caveat out of the way quickly, because it's weird what we come away from this game with. You mentioned the Mitchell thing, John. He obviously wasn't himself. The Cavs didn't crash until the fourth quarter.
They were playing lazy.
It's
I
very.
mean,
I
don't know if they were just like.
I don't
That's
know if
exactly
my
what I
whole-
said. This was the Cavs were the version of the Celtics we hated. When they would pop up from time to time, not taking it seriously,
Yeah,
just
that's what it
hoping
felt
shots
like.
would fall.
But not even
and
that.
then
Shots
they
fell.
fell in the first half. They didn't in the second, and they weren't ready to fight as hard as the Celtics were, and they lost the game.
But not
And
even that.
If I was a Cavs fan, I'd be so mad right now.
It's not even that. I mean, if you were watching any Celtics film from the first 4 games, what are you saying? Like, they can't rebound. Go, everybody
First 3
go.
games.
Go get the offensive rebounds, because they can't grab them. They didn't crash until the fourth quarter. And then when they did in the fourth, they actually started getting some. I almost went to Atkinson to figure out what happened there, because I've never been more. I mean, I've never been more shocked. And he's a great coach. That's a great team from a year ago.
I'm sure he
How
would
do
have
you
told
not
you
ex-
everything.
I wish you went.
How do you not explain?
Bobby, I'm glad you're here. Let me tell you what happened.
It's funny you should bring that
Have a
question
seat,
up.
John.
Here's my answer.
Where's my
I
guy?
wish
at?
Sherrod was here.
What was the final offensive rebounding number?
Sherrod was
It
here.
wasn't as lopsided as it was because Cleveland had a good third quarter, I
In the
believe,
fourth,
with it.
yeah.
Or the
third,
fourth.
whatever it was.
So it ended up being 18 for the Celtics. So the Celtics grabbed a couple late. It was 15-11 like late in the game. I think Celtics had a couple more. It finished at 18-11 offensive rebounding number there.
So
And the second chance
yeah.
points wasn't as lopsided as I had expected either. It was 23-19 in second chance points for the Celtics, but they got them when it mattered. But also the key to them is just don't get killed in that stat. You don't have to win it every single night, and you're probably not going to win it most nights. Just play that one even, particularly against a team that has a couple of bigs. If you play even on the rebounding front, you or even lose by a little, you've done great with this team.
And credit to Joe. I mean, when they were getting killed on the boards the first 3 games, he said we're going to solve it by getting more offensive rebounds ourselves. They've done that, 18 here, and then forcing turnovers. I think they got 14 in this one, which isn't an extraordinary number, but it's a winning number. And I think that's why the Cavs weren't able to get, like, Do you think attacking the other side offensive glass can actually help with your own defensive?
I mean, a little, but the main thing that I noticed is individually, there were multiple guys in the game that were way more intentional about crashing the glass. Like I have gone back through the first 3 games and rewatched every offensive rebound like 10 times. Like I could tell you like the timestamps at this point of these offensive rebounds. And it's Kada, it's Jaylen Brown, who didn't even, I think he had 5 rebounds in this game, but he was very active on the glass. One of the things that now that all I'm watching for is rebounding, one of the things I've noticed is how often it's not actually about who gets the board, but it's about who's blocking out, who's tipping out. Yeah, there's so many other like aspects to it. So individually, there are like 3 or 4 guys in the team that went from like a 30% to like a 90% as far as how intentional they are on the rebounding front. So I don't think it was really that schematic. And that's why Joe said, it's not like we're solved now. We're going to have this intentional effort every single game or else they're going to find themselves in the same exact spot. So at least you know now that they're capable of it. It doesn't mean that it's not going to be a weakness moving forward at points, but it's not like this unsolvable, we just don't have the personnel feeling, which it kind of felt that way at a moment. Like after the Knicks game too, which was, I mean, the Knicks are like the best rebounding team in the league right now, but it did kind of feel like maybe they just don't have the players for this because they're all trying hard. It felt.
And at that point, that's where you start thinking like the worst versions of the season, John. Like if you can't grab, I asked you this, like if you can't get a defensive rebound, can you win basketball games? And you literally can't. Now, I did go back the last 8 years or so. 2 teams did make the playoffs, finishing last in defensive rebounding. It was the 2018 Bucks who lost to the Celtics in the first round, the Terry year, and then the 2022 Nets, who are obviously that awful.
You don't have to
Kyrie,
be
KD,
great. You just have to be. You have to be competitive, right? And so I guess that's what Joe is asking for, and why he was such a stickler about it in the preseason, and why even during a regular season he yanks Neemias Queta out of the starting lineup 3 minutes in for giving up an offensive board, because it's like we don't have the personnel to not give it everything we have, and that's what he's been preaching since the beginning of the preseason. And very clearly, I mean, he's had no patience with his guys when they didn't handle that end, or at least make the effort to try and handle that end. And right now they're responding.
I want your thoughts on this, John, because I found it so interesting. Joe, speaking of the effort, Joe kind of
gave Shireman a shout out.
He did. But he also kind of admitted that the effort, the pace, the intensity they're playing at has impacted their shooting, because I think we've all wondered why the shooting's been so bad. I was surprised he said that. And some of the guys in the locker room agreed, too, that it does take a little bit of time to figure this out and catch up, because through the first 3 games, they were 27th in three-point shooting. I think it's up to 35 over the last 2, which isn't as good as I thought it was, but it's better.
But think about it, like you say this about individual players, right? Like, like when you talk about an individual player, particularly a superstar who's expected to score a lot of points, you have to concede that like they're not going to be able to go full court and play that level of defense for 40 minutes a night and be asked to carry such a major offensive load. Now you're spreading it out among everybody. Everybody's asked to go a zillion miles an hour. So it stands to reason that would happen. I think that makes sense.
I would be curious though, because we didn't talk to Peyton or Derek, which are the 2 main guys that have struggled with their shot this season. I don't think that those 2 guys would say to us that that's why they're missing threes.
Oh, for sure not.
I think in specific, Peyton, was it after Detroit where he felt like he said it's become a mental thing for him, and they're both very mental players. They're both guys that go through slumps where you can see the visible frustration in their face. You can see that they're like talking to themselves and their heads are down. So, Jaylen's been shooting 50% from 3 this season. Sam Hauser's nearing 50% from 3 this season. Like some guys are actually having really good shooting starts to the season. So maybe Joe says that as a little bit as cover for them, but I actually don't think that's like the primary explanation for why Peyton and Derek are struggling. I think they're just in a slump and they'll break out of it at a point. And maybe there's a little bit of an adjustment because they are playing a lot of ball pressure and they are exerting themselves more. But I think they're really in their head. Like Derek was letting some go, not so much tonight, but earlier in the season where you could just tell he's just in his head.
But this goes back to Minott, because they've had him up a lot, pressuring the ball handlers. Yeah. They've used Ugo in that role, as you mentioned. Like they are trying to implement some other guys into the ball, pressure position, because I don't think they want to exert Jaylen, Peyton, Derek too much there.
You just can't at a certain point. And also Peyton's not going to be taking on every wing assignment, whereas Ugo and Josh can take on those bigger guys too. So they're like the defensive stopper role of like you're going to guard the opposing team's best player pretty much unless it's like Joel Embiid. Ugo can take that role. Josh can take that role. Peyton can't, so I think there's a little bit of that versatility thing too.
I'm so excited about John. I know he's your guy, John, but I'm joining you on the bandwagon, man.
No, I mean, it's
he's
everybody's
awesome.
guy. I'm just messing around with you guys. Everybody likes what they see.
And he's such a nice guy too. He's very likable.
He's got like, I will say, I thought he was gonna have like a Robert Williams, and we're gonna hear from him in a second.
No, he's a nerd. He's so
kind
nice.
of like, yeah,
I really like him. Yeah, he's very wholesome. He has a very wholesome energy.
Him and Joe seem to have a cool dynamic too. Like he just gets Joe's.
You can
like,
just
some
tell
guys
he's.
just get it.
You can tell he's just willing to be coached hard because a couple times Joe snapped at him or like got upset at him on the sidelines, and he's just like, "I got you, Joe. Like you're absolutely right." Like he's very like whatever Joe says. Like I think if Joe told him to jump, he'd jump. Like
I did see,
that.
he was waiting to talk to us one day, and Joe was like beating him up outside the scrum. I was like, these guys are just like on the same page.
That's kind of how you made it in some cases.
Yeah.
Because if like even the post game commentary, Mazzulla won't give it up full for him yet.
Yeah, at all. It's so funny.
He's like he's done something.
It's so funny when you guys keep trying. It's like he's not
I tried so hard pregame, and he's like he's got to play with energy. I'm like, okay.
He won't give it to him, which means it's that tough love that he feels that there's a little bit more there to give. Here is Josh Minott after the game. Again, another terrific game. Here is his second career start.
Josh, I know you talked about it before, the conscious decision to just go get a rebound. Joe just said it, like you guys have to wake up and make that choice. Was there any shift or message change
come on.
from the first 3 games?
You look like Josh Minott.
Pretty significant improvement.
I say just as a team, we just turned the switch on. Collectively, we're all trying to make sure our man doesn't get it, and then after that, it's like a team effort.
Hey, Sherrod.
Like, okay, now my man doesn't have
Hey,
it.
guys.
Now it's like which one of us is gonna go get it? So it's just a collective effort on that rebounding end for sure.
Josh, this is your first time experiencing a win at TD Garden as a member of the Celtics. What was it like walking out of the tunnel afterwards? What was that feeling like?
I can't even explain it, man. Like just thanking God, thanking the fans.
Did you see that scene?
Just for the energy. It's like my teammates.
We can
everyone
hear you.
Everyone here associated with Boston just empowers me. It's just a blessing to be here, truthfully. From the coaching staff to the training staff to the equipment managers, my teammates, it's just like everyone just helps me to be the person I'm trying to be.
What thoughts about the three-point shot so far? Is that something you tinkered with over the summer at all, and where do you feel like you're at with it?
Really just getting repetitions. I'm just trying to hit an above break 3 one time, bro. I don't mind the corner ones, but
my bro.
Just over the summer, continue to sharpen tools. My 3 ball is definitely one of them.
What works well, you and Nimi playing together?
That's not vaulting him past Tatum.
Say just respecting space. He's seen it as like a trigger to our offense, so he's like initiating a lot of it. I'm seeing it as just like someone that can help to, get our targets like JB in the open. Just continuing to space the floor, trying to get second chance opportunities. It's a good little. I forgot the word for it, but like just a good like
two-man game.
Just what kind of things are you looking for when you're crashing? Positioning.
I was trying to figure it out too.
Direction of the ball. What's kind of going through your mind as you see a potential opportunity for it?
A lot of it's luck, the way it bounces. But I'd say as long as I'm not, behind the backboard and out of bounds, I got a chance to get it. So say it starts with that, just being on the top side and just praying God, lets it come my way.
That the standard.
Now we know.
Expected of you. What has it been that process of learning what the team wants from you and him, especially coaching you probably pretty hard to get there?
When you really think about it, they're not really asking for much. Just do my best to defend the other team's best player, rebound, defend, and space the floor on offense. And truthfully, after that, they see everything as like a plus. And I'm just trying to hone in on what they expect out of me, and just help my team to continue to look the best they can.
Have you always seen the game that way, where it's like do all the simple things and everything's okay, or has that been something that you've kind of had to adjust to?
We were all stars in high school, and I'd say most of us were stars in college. So it's like just coming here, you got to understand, that not everybody's gonna be a star. So it's just like I got no problem with that. I'll go, make y'all look good. Just rebound, defend. Try and make the other teams, good players, not look as good. And I'll just continue to do what y'all do. So, I mean, just blessed to have a great group of guys around me. And y'all see it, man. They good. Like, they good at basketball.
Josh, what's it been like to play with Jaylen, just as a teammate and a leader, from what you've seen with him, and like what's he been like?
I mean, it's I can't compare it to last year's Jaylen because I wasn't here, but from what I've experienced, man, he's definitely becoming so much more of a vocal leader. He's someone it's easy to listen to him, because it's like he speaks to you. He doesn't speak too loud, you kind of got to listen up, but he definitely knows the right stuff. So it's been a pretty easy transition, coming here because I got people like JB, D White, Peyton, X, Sam, they all in my ear, especially coming from a championship culture, and they've kind of brought me up to speed with what they expect.
And there we have
Gotta
your
love
favorite, my favorite, everybody's favorite,
Nice.
Josh Minott. Yeah. Here talking, and again, I mean, this guy leads the league in saying the right thing. Like, my goodness, it like every single quote out of his mouth is
John
like,
is gushing.
Josh, I love how much you love this guy.
I just think it's
This
great.
is my favorite
I love
storyline
I
of the
think there's
season.
some Rob Williams elements, John.
I just John.
No, this is better than Rob.
No. To God, shut.
It's getting,
He's better
it's
than
getting
Rob?
there. It's
Hush
getting
your
there.
mouth.
I'm saying the
Oh.
vibe that he gives off are better than
Oh,
Rob.
his vibe, yeah.
So I'll say this:
yeah.
I didn't think he was gonna start for this team, but he was always gonna they brought him in with some understanding that this guy can protect the rim a little bit. And I know that wasn't a big part of his game tonight, but you've seen at times him on the weak side making plays around the rim. And this team doesn't have a ton of rim protection. They don't have a ton at the center position, but I almost looked at him going in as a borderline center because of how great of a shot blocker he is. And I love that he's made his way to this role because ideally with this team, you have your center in Keita and you have your extra help side rim protection behind them. And that's allowed them to keep their opponent off the glass, off the finishes, everything that they've been able to do with this duo. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I bet the Keita Minott numbers are just out of this world so far. And I don't know, do you think that's going to be what it is at the 4 and the 5 the rest of the way?
It looks like it right now. I mean, it's so early in the season that I don't want to say anything's completely solidified, but it makes a lot of sense. And honestly, Minott has looked good pretty much this entire year.
Here's
when
the
he's played.
question. Will he
He was
shoot?
good at, and honestly, this is the thing with the shooting. His shot is one of the worst looking shots that I've
man.
seen. It's not, it goes in. I actually, from my understanding is that he's actually a much better shooter than it looks. And so it's hard to get the mechanics out of your head when you see the way he squares
His
up.
body's
But
moving
I'm
as he
going
goes
to say
up.
right now, I think
We've
he's going
seen
to
Al
finish the season.
Horford.
Is Al's
Like-
shot ugly? I can't even. I
It's
can't
like a
even.
slingshot, set shot.
At a certain
Al-
point,
Al-
once
the
they start
first
going in,
time I saw-
they all seem.
The first time I saw Al with Atlanta, I was like, "Oh my God!" And it roughly
It's like
the
above
same
his
thing
head.
carried over, and a flicky above his head, a really weird looking
Yeah, I guess
shot.
it's kind of weird.
But
It
you
was
just it
slow
doesn't
too
matter
back
when
in
they
the
go
day.
in. But yeah,
But my prediction right now is that Josh is going to finish the season shooting 35-36% from three and being a
That would be a
respectable
grand
net there.
slam.
Yeah, that would be huge, obviously, for a lot
And
of reasons.
And
But
we've talked too, John, the guys who make it out of this year, who's going to help you next year when Tatum is back? He has a second-year team option. He's 22. If this is the one guy you found who's going to help you next year, and maybe there's more than that too, we're not discussing right now, but grand slam at the minimum, what a talent evaluation job this was if that's what this ends up being.
yeah, for sure.
yeah. What I will say is that we might have disparaged, besmirched, given our producer Bailey a little bit grief over his Josh Minott slander and hatred here.
What did he do?
It's Wolves fans in general.
It may
Oh, is
not be.
Bailey a Wolves fan?
Yeah.
He is, but it might be the same way that you hate Tatum, kind of fabricated, and it's become legend and not necessarily true. So
Actually,
Not
I think
necessarily true.
I think they're best friends now.
Bailey put this out here.
I still don't get
Josh
where that
Minott
started.
Might be a dude. December 27th,
Did you bring that up
2024.
with him?
So
No, it's
Bobby,
the worst thing ever.
I'm talking about this is Bailey's vindication moment, okay? So this is his receipt that he put out
guess
here
what?
regarding.
Ton of credit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look for some more of his. So
Yeah, you're gonna find other receipts.
I'm digging.
And shout out to Bailey with Garza too. I haven't minded Garza's play.
He has liked Garza. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
he's
but
liked him as well.
Minott's the guy, though. Minott,
Oh, for sure.
he's doing everything that you could possibly want at this point. And I think the scary part about him, if you're the Celtics, is you can watch him play and see that there are levels to his game that he hasn't even touched yet. There's things that I think he can do in time that are going to be super beneficial for you when you have him, instead of being your starting 4, he's maybe your 7th or 8th man off the bench. And that's.
I did that on purpose. Who messed with me?
Did what?
Sorry.
I kind of like that. I like that Sherrod had his moment.
Sherrod,
I did,
take your
and
moment
someone
and run
sat.
with it.
I'm like Minott. I'm having my moment. John, give me
I
my
haven't
moment.
done anything.
No, I just love everything about Minott at this point. He's exactly what they need right now. And I kind of like the fact that he's here now as opposed to last year, where I think he would have got buried. And we will be doing. I think the Celtics would do the same thing that Minnesota did. He's a nice player, but probably not good enough for us. So we're just gonna let him walk.
Sherrod, how
He's
easily
also
could this guy be your Lamar Stevens, or
Right.
who, like the
O'Shea.
guy you wanted
Lamar
to play, or
Stevens, jeez.
Banton, or O'Shea? All I'm saying is everybody had their guy, right? I want this guy to play, and you're on a good team. Josh Minott would have absolutely been
Jaden Springer.
Stevens or Banton or Springer or
God.
Brissett. He'd just be buried. He'd be so far down, and you'd have people like clamoring for, I'd like to give this Minott guy minutes. It's born from opportunity. He's gotten an opportunity because the team is in the state that it's in right now, where they've lost so many players that it's like, hey, who wants to step up and be the guy? And he did it. He stepped up, and he's the guy right now. So
Because when he came to Boston, he was among a handful of guys who you really didn't know what you're going to get. You really didn't know whether they would play. You think they might be able to help you, but you had no idea. And, he's kind of, I think, gotten out of what, the passport ready crew, guys who I think will be playing overseas a year from now. He's not in that crew anymore. There's still a couple guys that are there, though, obviously, but he's not one of them. So good for him.
You know what I'm thinking a lot about? It's rare. Oh, go ahead, Jimmy.
I was going to say just real quickly, the other thing I like about what he said was acknowledging the fact that, he used to be a star in high school and used to be a star in college. And, so has everybody in the NBA, right? In most cases, right? You would imagine. And acknowledging and understanding that his role is no longer to be the star, at least not, right now. I think in John's world, maybe he does become the star someday. But right now he understands what the team needs from him.
This is what you need. Yeah.
Yeah, he understands what the team needs from him. And that's giving him that playing time. That's allowing him to become a star maybe someday.
They're starring the role that he's given. Yeah.
Right.
What do you got, Noah?
What's that?
No, I was just going to say, I think the one line that keeps sticking with me is that early on in training camp or preseason, Jaylen Brown said, this is actually somebody we could have really used in the last few years. And he said it unprompted. And at the time I was like, really? Like he would have really broken the rotation here. But now that I'm actually seeing him play, I'm not saying like definitively he would have been a contributor, because we all know how high the bar was to actually get on the court for this team in recent years. But there are things that he does where I'm like, actually, that would have really helped them.
They didn't have a backup four, did they?
Yeah, and I think that role that like maybe O'Shea and some guys struggled in, like he's shown more in his very limited couple games here. So I keep thinking about that Jaylen line because he said it unprompted, which made me think he really believed it. And now I kind of get where he was coming from.
Yeah, they benched Hauser, Pritchard, Cornette.
The chat rightly pointing out Sean Marion had one of the ugliest three-point shots ever as well.
That was like
I'm all for ugly shots. I have the ugliest shot in basketball history.
Your shot is pretty ugly.
It's the ugliest shot in basketball history. So I'm the last person that's ever going to discriminate.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying the four.
Your box score went viral.
Bobby, I can't tell the difference between your jump shot and your chest pass.
Listen, it wasn't a diss. The effectiveness is outstanding.
It's not outstanding.
John, they both have the same outcome. Yeah, exactly.
It's like this. I've never seen anything like it.
I'm not a shooter.
Can I just confirm, have we already talked about Jaylen? Because I want to be here for a positive Jaylen segment while we're all here. Have we already done that?
We did it.
Jaylen.
Yeah, we did blame pie.
Okay,
Just kidding.
No, I just think it's easy when Jaylen has the 7 turnover games to be like, oh, this rule's too much for him. But through 5 games, I can't tell what that says, but through 5 games, he has been very good. He has been efficient. He has not had to do too much. He has, played his role defensively. He has been a leader for this team. Like I think he deserves his flowers. And if they had won a couple more of these early games and they were like 3-2 or 4-1 right now, everybody would be saying, wow, like what a great start for Jaylen. And I think that you can see the last 2 games have translated, but the 40 points in Detroit, I don't think he's been healthy. Tonight, he looked the most healthy to me that he's looked all season.
Still stretching that hamstring out.
But he had a couple plays today where he was way more explosive than he was earlier in the year. So
I think the way he's managed has been incredible.
I just wanted to say that while we're all here.
You tweeted that, Noah. Do you see that? I'm still waiting for it.
What did I tweet?
Always feel that he looks like he's moving better than he did in the first few
He
games.
doesn't look 100%, but he looks much better than he looked a week ago. Today was opening night. He looks much better today.
2 weeks from the injury.
I would agree. He looks better for sure.
You
And he
thought so,
told
Jimmy?
us in Detroit that the first 2 weeks were the high risk period for him, and that's 2 weeks now.
I think he looks better than he did on opening night for sure. I thought it was obvious the first few games that he was playing like 70% speed. You know, and he wasn't that explosive. I wasn't seeing him go to the basket hard. Actually, to be honest, I saw him wince out there in that game against Philly after I think the dunk attempt. So I'm thinking that he is starting to tick back in the right direction for sure physically, and you are starting to see that on the court. His efficient. We did. You know, a couple people sent some super chats. They wanted us to give Jaylen his flowers. So we did do that. But, of course, if you have anything to add, this is the time to do it because famously this podcast is known for not talking about Jaylen. So this is a very rare. I think this season will be an exception. But in the past, that's been what we've been criticized for. But not tonight. He deserves this. He deserves to be spoken about. For sure.
I also think, guys, reduced expectations over what this team is going to be at the end of the year makes it like so. The judgment of and how you're assessing people isn't going to be as harsh. I think one of the things
he's going to be judged to his standard. If he starts playing badly, he's going to get killed.
He was already getting killed online after like 2 days.
But let me explain
I was
why
at the game.
I
was
say
at
that.
the game, by the way.
The reason the reason I say that is the standard by which you were judging them every time this wasn't a bad Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum game. It's this shit is going to keep you from winning a title. You were really only judging them on, is this going to work in the highest level against the OKC Thunder on the road in an elimination game 6? So any criticism was based off of, how's this going to play later? Can you get away with it now? Yeah. But now when the stakes aren't really there, you can kind of just judge things at face value a little bit.
I mean,
so
some fans want them to tank.
Yeah, but I mean, the tank that I get this in my comments all the time. Like, I want a high draft pick, and that only comes if you have losses or if you get incredible lottery luck. And sure, can you catch lightning in a bottle? Fine. I want them to get another great player in here. You want to see them get their Maxey, their Edgecombe, their whatever. A guy in here who can be complementary to the stars that you have, and you not have to go out and spend a bunch of money when you just got yourself out of the tax. It's hard to get that, but nobody wants them to lose. And the losses have to happen organically. They're either bad and they lose, and then you just reap the benefits of what happens when you do have a down year, or not. If they play well, then you just ride it out and you just call it the way you see it. So if they're playing like this and they're competitive and they're winning games, it has a chance to be one of those fun seasons. Not quite the Isaiah Thomas season, but the overachiever season where you're like, hey, this isn't so bad, or these guys are doing great. So I do think that the overall commentary is going to be a little bit different, with these guys based off of the lowered expectations that they're facing. At least that's how I see it.
What are you looking for from Jaylen this year ultimately?
I think what we're seeing, like, I think you want to continue. I mean, he needs to score the ball. That's been obvious that he is going to be their primary offensive option. So, what is he averaging right now? Like 27 a night, something in that range. Like, I think he's going to end up the year probably around there. The question for me, revelation has been his early season 3-point shooting. And the same way that I'm not going to overreact to Peyton Pritchard and Derek White's struggles, I'm not going to say Jaylen's shot is now he's now an elite 3-point shooter, because he did shoot 32% from 3 last year. But if he can push, bump that figure up from 32 to 36, 37, 38, that makes a huge difference. And I think that was an underrated thing that he dealt with last year, in addition to the injuries, that he wasn't shooting the ball well pretty much all year. And so I'm very encouraged early on. I was trying to ask him post game, but I walked in too late, about whether he's done anything different with his shot or if he's tinkered something, because it looks better leaving his hand. And obviously right now the results have been great, but if he can keep that up to some capacity, like, that's going to be huge for their offense as well. But
I mean, again, you go back to Jaylen Brown 2 and 3 years ago.
Yeah,
he was like he was the most ridiculously efficient basketball player in the NBA at the least efficient shot that you could take, which these contested mid-range twos that he hits at a ridiculous clip. That was the magic of Jaylen Brown, is even when he's covered, he's just going to hit ridiculously difficult shots. And I would say that was the thing that he had over Tatum, which is when Tatum's taking ridiculously difficult shots, he's shooting 23%, and Brown was shooting 50-something% with those. And that was part of his superpower. That kind of went away a little bit last year, and he was fighting all of it, not just the three, but the mid-range as well. So seeing that efficiency return, and you're right, the three-point stroke.
And I don't
looks
and I
cleaner.
don't know.
I don't know why.
I have no idea if the knee injury, like as a shooter, like a knee pain is for sure going to hurt your ability to shoot NBA threes, for sure. But I don't know if that's the reason or if it was just a bad stretch. But that's the thing I have my eye on right now is his shooting, and if he can kind of keep that up, because it's just going to make it so much easier for him to get to the basket if teams are concerned about his outside shooting. Like that's the biggest.
Let's guys, we got to rip through a couple of super chats because we are going. We're extending into extra time here. So I want to give a shout out to Brian. Heyo, love you guys. Love the show. Celtics fan living in LA. They play like this every night. It'll be a fun year. Marcus in LA. Weird stuff. And,
Marcus
Jay,
in LA. Hold on.
Cancel Rome. Bobby, did you see the percentages? 45, 35. Threes, 50. I don't know what this is, but we thank you.
45% field goal, 35% three, 50%.
Oh, he's saying that wasn't that good.
Yeah. Green Dog, free Terry. Well, we'll see.
I think you're out of luck.
And NHT77, of course, Noah doesn't care about Minott shot form. She only cares about the buckets, not how it looks. Absolutely. We're talking about giving flowers. I want to go once around with a couple other people we didn't necessarily talk about. Simons, after a 25-point game, a quieter 14 points. But again, remarkably efficient, 4 of 6 from 3. 1 turnover only in 26 minutes, fitting his role nicely. And this graphic that made the rounds on Twitter. It might be wrong, but I don't care. I'm putting it up here. The lowest opponent field goal percentage, the closest defenders this season. Number 1, of course, Wemby, and number 2, it's Anthony Simons, of course.
This is a very flawed stat. I did share this as well, but it's a very flawed stat, especially for perimeter players. Like if you go through year after year, it does not usually capture the best guards. But it does match. But it does match the eye test. Like I think he's played really hard on defense, and he has not. You would never watch him play and say this guy sucks on defense. Like you would never think that.
I only acknowledge it because we're talking about a guy who's been notorious.
Right. I quote tweeted it too.
To see any positive stats encouraging. I'll also say.
Well, I mean, we did the whole thing with Hauser for a year, right? Talking about his defensive rating being the best in the NBA. He certainly wasn't the best defender in the NBA.
No, it's just something that you're like,
but
wow,
that
that's
stat
really
exactly shows you that it's not as bad as you.
He's not a black hole, right?
Because it would be bad if he was playing terrible on that end. You would think.
And
he's fitting in well though too offensively. I like how he's making it work as a guy who's been a number 1 option in recent years, becoming like the 6th option on this team. Whatever it's been, he's had a very light workload offensively.
Yep, no doubt about it. We mentioned it briefly. Peyton Pritchard running the offense like a point guard should tonight. That was outstanding. Again, 10 points, shots still not falling, 1 of 8 from 3, but 10 assists tonight and only 1 turnover. That's really good stuff from Peyton Pritchard.
Wow.
There's a lot of people in the chat clamoring for Anthony Simons to enter the starting lineup right now. I don't know why that is necessarily, but what are your thoughts, guys? As Pritchard is the starting point guard through 5 games.
Like it.
I'll just add on Pritchard that he's shooting the ball horrendously from 3. Like I think he's down to 15% or something like that. Look at his 2-point field goal percentage. I don't have it at the top of my head, but he has been very, very good at finishing around the basket, scoring at the mid-range, scoring in the paint. The 3-point shot is going to come around. He is a proven 3-point shooter. It is the most proven aspect of his game. It's going to come around. And so when that happens, all of a sudden everybody's going to be like, oh, Peyton Pritchard's playing so well. He's already playing really well. He really has been. He has done everything well except for shoot. And so And you look at his numbers, like they've been solid. So this is one of those things, like I'm trying to not go too hard on it because I know everybody knows that I believe in Peyton and I have for a long time, but objectively he has played very well so far this season. It's just
Sherrod, your team Peyton also?
I am not Team Payton, but I will say that he has played solid. He hasn't been a liability defensively, which I think was one of the concerns when he was brought into the start lineup. But but here's the thing, though, and I keep coming back to this: the 3-point shooting. You're right; that's a part of his game that has been, frankly, one of the main driving vehicles for his success, and he's not doing a good job at that. But the thing that he's doing that I do like is that he's figuring out other ways to impact winning. When you look at his rebounding, you look at his playmaking tonight. Those are the kind of things that Payton hasn't really done as much of, in large part because his shooting has been so good, and that's what the team was looking for from him, and that's what he provided. He's showing the ability to be a more all-around player now, and I do like that about him. And you're right. I think the shot making will come at some point, but for now, he's still finding ways to impact winning and give this team a chance to compete, even though his shot is not falling. And to me, that was my big concern when you start looking at his shot numbers. What can he give you if he's not making shots? And he's finding ways to give you stuff otherwise. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty baffled by it. I don't get it. He's had slow starts years before, so it's not super unusual to see him go through a slump. Everybody goes through slumps. So it might be as simple as that. I do wonder, though, is he rushing shots a little bit? Is the way defenses are guarding him altering things a little bit? I'm going to have to take a long look at it because this is crazy how slow it's been for him. Like you said, 15%.
But it's such a small sample. It's just 5 games.
I know.
It's a week of basketball.
It's just he's such a great shooter. It's shocking to watch.
But this is what happens. This is what happens to great shooters. Porzingis missed like 25 consecutive threes last year at a point.
You don't think it could be the extra
Sam
workload,
Hauser had a
extra
bad
pace,
month and a half, and he finished at 40
Like
for the
it
year.
could for sure be that too, but I don't think that anybody should ever be stunned when a good shooter has a bad week. I mean, literally the season started a week ago today, So if in 6 weeks he's still shooting this poorly, then I think it warrants like is the style not working? Is there something bigger at play? Is the shot quality, rapidly decreased or something? But that's just not. I think it's just premature to have that.
Same question, Derek White. Oh, go ahead, Sherrod. Finish.
No,
finish your
no, we can pivot to Derek because Derek, I'm concerned about because.
Yeah.
See, I'm less concerned about Derek.
Really?
Sherrod, why?
5 for 20. You're not concerned about that. Great.
It's just because I've seen him as a streaky guy in the past. Like he gets on hot stretches. He'll have remember the slump last year? Like it was ridiculous.
Everybody's streaky. Like there's no such thing as a shooter that doesn't go through these stretches.
But he has started. He has played big minutes. He has shot a lot of shots.
Proven.
Like he's been in this role before.
Yeah.
The question with Pritchard this year is, can you go from 6-man, 6 option to starter, 3rd option? I'm not saying that's necessarily why he's struggling from 3, but it does make me think, like, all right, is it going to be different for him in this role?
I would say
he's
Derek
been wide open all the time.
I don't have the numbers, and I'll find them before our next show. But I would say, just from watching, Derek's shot quality and the kinds of looks he's getting have decreased way more than Payton. Payton is getting the same looks he got last year.
Well, the attention.
Derek's shots have gotten a lot harder, which is why, like Sherrod, I'm a little bit more concerned because I'm thinking. Right. It might be more than just like he's just missing open looks. I'll confirm that. I have to go actually look into those numbers, but that's my inclination watching.
Well, he's shooting 25% from 3-point range, and he's getting what are relatively good shots, but they're just not the good shots that he's used to taking. And for him and again, I keep coming back when we talk about guys being in different roles this year. I don't know if anyone has had their role when they got to Boston to where they're at now expand as much as Derek White. He went from basically at best case scenario, your 4th or 5th option to now your number 1A, 1B, number 2. And that's huge.
But he wasn't playing much in those first finals against Golden State at all.
And there's a reason for that. My point is this, though, Bobby. He's your number 2 option without any doubts or questions right now. And this is a guy that not that long ago, hell, we can go back to last season, was like your number 4 or 5. That's a huge jump. The thing about Payton, the difference is that Payton, while he has an expanded role, he had a pretty significant role last year. The only real question with Payton Pritchard was, can he give you something other than shot making? And he's shown that he can do that. With Derek White, it's can he operate at a high level when his shots are maybe coming in different spots and maybe he's doing more catch and shoot, things that he hasn't done in the past. And so far, he's struggled with that. And that's what concerns me most about him. Can he make the adjustment once again to a different role than what he's used to?
And when you think too, you lose Holiday, you lose Tatum, you lose some of these key perimeter guys. Like he's going to be guarding one of the better guys on the other side more nights than not. So his responsibility on that end increases massively too. He has to do a ton for this team. Like the amount, how many shots did he take tonight?
20.
That's a lot of shots for Derek White. Like, not saying he can't handle it, but it's a lot, relative to what he's had to do, as you mentioned, Sherrod. Go ahead, Jimmy.
I think.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
Sorry, Sherrod. I was going to say, I think that's going to be the norm for Derek White. 20 plus field goal attempts. I mean, his 3-point shooting. Yeah, I mean, his 3-point shooting is going to be. I mean, he's 3 for 12 tonight. If he's going to be taking 12 plus 3-point shots like almost every game, and
he's
think
averaging 11.
There you go. So I think that was a concern going into this season, not necessarily about Derek White, but how are teams going to try to get either White or Brown out of this game? Basically say, we challenge the rest of this roster to beat us. If we can take out Brown or White, where's the rest of the offense? Where's enough offense going to come from? That was certainly one of my fears. So White definitely does have a bigger role now, and I think teams are zoning in on him a little bit more. He's not going to be getting open the same way that he was last season and the season prior because of the lack of talent or the less amount of talent there is in this team now. And opponents are going to be zoning in on him. Jaylen Brown is a little bit better of scoring it. How do I say? And like bullying his way to the hoop a little bit more, scoring in different facets, and obviously he's taking smarter shots this year. I think Derek White, whether it's something that Joe's, kind of pounded into his head or what, is thinking volume. I got to get the shots off. We need, enough field goal attempts to compete in this one. So that's where Derek White is. With Pritchard, I'm willing to give it a little bit more time. I think Pritchard will be fine 3-point shooting wise.
Jimmy.
I think Pritchard will be fine 3-point shooting wise. However, you're talking about a guy who was 6th man of the year last year, and then you took him out of that role. I wonder, I would like maybe Bobby or Noah, you guys are the research team here.
He talked about this recently, didn't he?
Have gone from 6th man of the year to a starting role and succeeded in that change. I feel like if you're a 6th man, like there's a lot that goes into that. It's not just X's and O's, but it's your mentality, how you approach the game, how you
your preparation,
affect your teammates, your preparation, but also like
I asked him about
guys
that, about
going,
like
coming. Yeah. What do you say?
No, go ahead.
No, I'm wrapping up, but basically I'd like to see a little bit more time in that starting lineup, but if it's not working, I'm fine seeing him back in that 6-man role. I don't look at it as a demotion. He's still going to get his playing time. And if it's what he's good at, let him do that. If Anthony Simons is good in the starting role, let him do that. I mean, you took guys' roles and you flipped them in a season where tons of roles are already changing. Those are roles that may not have needed to.
It is a good point. What did he say?
He said that the biggest change is that when he was coming off the bench, it was like he was kind of viewing himself as he has to be aggressive right away and be a spark and be kind of like he didn't use the word microwave scorer, but that was kind of what I took from it. And now when he starts the game, he's not immediately hunting his own shot. Like you saw tonight, there was more of an effort on playmaking. Right. And so it's picking his spots a little bit better. And obviously you're going up against second units to start versus not. So there's a little bit of an adjustment there too. But I think the part of it that we have to also acknowledge, like maybe a little bit of the elephant in the room, is that Peyton Pritchard is here on a multi-year contract and they view him as part of the future. And I still don't know where Anthony Simons stands. So in addition to thinking about like what lineups make the most sense, there's a little bit of context around that as well that could be playing into it. I'm actually not sure if it is, but
I don't even know if I want to go on a whole rant about that, but I am sick of hearing that with him. Like he's here, he's going to be part of this team. There's no clear path to getting him out of here. And honestly, you don't benefit much from just seeing him walk at the end of the year. Like I do. I'm not saying that's necessary.
I mean, I'm always against doing stuff for the money.
And
I don't care about their money.
I can't imagine that is impacting his on-court role, but like there does have to be some.
Maybe it's not. I actually really don't know. I'm just
and I'm not saying that's necessarily like what you were saying, but like I do hear like, oh man, he's gonna be gone, and like over the summer it was like, yeah, they're gonna trade him. I said this a million times. When people ask who around the league needs a Simons, like people don't need those guys anymore. They're not as valuable. The Celtics need Simons. Like, and I don't know if they're gonna
he's good enough to start, Bobby.
Able to sign it. Like. And yeah, he should be good enough to contribute to this team. And Joe,
he's been contributing. He's been playing really well.
But I feel like they can get a little more out of him. Yeah. Like it's a tough.
I don't know. I just think this whole discussion around.
Yeah. He's a guy that can give you 30 plus minutes a game.
No, he's still completely adjusting to this role. Like he was the primary scoring option. Now he's like the 6th scoring option.
But to Jimmy's point, this is a guy who has lived in a starting role with a lot of shots. Pritchard is a guy who's been in the 6th man. Like, I'm not saying that should be the.
I just think if Pritchard was making his threes, we would never be having this conversation. And he's getting wide open threes. So that nothing else about his game has made me.
We had it with Malcolm Brogdon. We had the same conversation, same exact conversation, because Marcus Smart wasn't playing as well that year. And it was like, well, are we just starting him out of habit because that's what you expect to do because he's the incumbent and he's been here? Or should the other guy be getting more minutes? And again, you had that year where you could make the case that both White and Brogdon were playing better than Smart, and he stayed in there all year long. So I don't necessarily think because they're doing it now, it's what needs to get done. But I also don't think over 5 games is enough of a sample size to say.
Well, I'll also say this:
get Richard out of there. I always thought. I was
that was
Marcus
like
Smart.
30 seconds into the first game. People were like, "Get
I know,
out of
I
there."
don't-
It was like
Yeah.
that's why. It's
But
just
I thought Marcus Smart was miscast as a starting point guard the entire time. I thought he was always better suited to be a 6-man. But then he became the starter, and then it was like, well, I guess he starts now. So
right.
and again, like Joe didn't even want to talk about this on media day. He shut it right down when I brought it up, and we haven't talked about it a ton because I think we all look at it and say Pritchard deserves to start. Simon's new; he should come off the bench.
Bobby, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Are you the only guy Joe gave shit to at the press conference today?
Joe gave you shit at the press conference?
I didn't. I was talking to you about when I went. I don't understand what he was saying.
I thought
what
you
was he
guys
saying?
were all good
I
now.
didn't give you.
Okay.
I think I had a different interpretation of that secret.
I thought he was saying someone else already asked that question, but
No,
I guess he
no.
meant he already explained it.
No, what he meant was you said like, when did you start realizing that maybe it's the legs, like because of their more intense, pace? And he was like, I literally just came up with that, like with Corrales. Like I don't think.
Oh,
I think he
okay.
just kind of said it off the cuff, like, and then when you inquired about it, he was like, it's
Because he walked
there's
off
not-
after and
there's
was like,
not-
I haven't even thought about it.
Yeah, like I think he was basically just like, there's
Okay,
not.
so he
this
wasn't
is not
giving
like
me
a big
shit.
thing I've been thinking about. I just kind of like said that.
I thought he
No,
was.
he
didn't think
definitely
maybe- well,
wasn't.
maybe I'm-
He was
Yeah.
totally not giving you shit. Definitely not.
That's
I didn't understand it.
Yeah, yeah.
maybe,
No,
yeah,
it's
Go
all good.
like this now. Since
Just two
he
buddies.
stole the ball 3 times. with me.
Since he wiped the floor
Yeah.
with you. One thing we didn't
But great
talk
point,
about.
Jimmy. I think that's a really good point.
One thing we got
I'll
to
take
talk
it.
about before we get
That's it,
out of
I'm
here
out.
is Jason Tatum, of course, as we know, is trying to work his way back. This season, and he's traveling with the team, and he's doing a lot of things, but he's also, doing things that that Jason Tatum does, and he stopped by a surprise visit to the YMCA in Chinatown, and our own Noah Dalzell was tabbed to be the person who spoke to Jason, and she did, and she has a nice feature right now that's running on SB Nation, and the entire interview is on CLNS Media right now, which you can catch right after this show. But in the meantime, we're going to give you a little snippet of it.
These former players saying, don't do it. There's a risk. Be careful. And here's what he had to say about that.
Is your mindset still the same of like, I'm going to try to do everything I can to maybe come back? Or is that still where you're at mentally?
I've been working my butt off for the last 24 weeks now. Just trying to get healthy and trying to get 100%. And it's just something that motivates me, right? Every day I go rehab and work out, and I'm on the court. Something that I can try to get to. It's like a goal. Myself and challenging myself every day.
And there he is, challenging himself every day. Noah, just in terms of again, vibes, reads, this and that, we see the Instagram posts, we see the video, he's working out. We've heard him talk about how he wants to come back. Just your sense talking to him, like where's he at right now mentally in terms of his recovery process? Because again, it's not all linear. People see the clips on TV and they see him dunking, and then they hear people talking about the recovery's going great, better than ever. Some of these projections right now with when he might come back, realistic or not, definitely gets people a little excited. You got to sit with him and talk to him. What's your kind of vibe?
Yeah, the way I interpreted kind of his answer right there, and just in general, this conversation is that's his goal. That is going to be what when he wakes up in the morning and when he goes to begin his long day of rehab, like that is what's guiding him. I don't think that he's sitting there being like, I without a doubt have to come back this season and like I'm going to actually do it. I think that he's using it as kind of a guiding principle. That's the way I interpreted that question. And I will say we've all gotten really excited about the clips. I've enjoyed watching him dunk and all the things that he's released on his YouTube channel. I spoke to the same Achilles tendon expert that I spoke to right after the injury happened from UPenn, Dr. Soslowski, who's been super helpful to kind of contextualizing things throughout this. And I included a snippet of our conversation in the feature on SB Nation, but he basically said like none of the videos that we've seen really give us a ton of insight into like where he's actually at. Like, it doesn't show you a whole lot as far as movements, as far as how you're able to handle like defenses and kind of like the movements that you make on your own accord versus having to respond to movements are very different things when it comes to an Achilles tendon. So anything that he's doing like on his own highlights is different than like actually coming close to returning to the court. So I think he's still a ways away. But it was interesting to hear because we've heard now, I think it was Wick Rosebeck that went on WEEI and was kind of like made it sound
not
like
expected.
He's not expected to return. So I was curious if maybe something had shifted over the past month since we spoke to him on media day, because a month's a long time and in the recovery process, but I think he's still there where he wants to return.
And you said Halliburton dunked too recently, John.
Yeah, Halliburton
so,
dunked like last week.
Yeah,
and again, and I mean, I kind of joked about it, but I do think we're overreacting to stuff without really, having enough information to be able to say anything. People see Tatum dunk and they're like, he's coming back, dude.
And that's
then
what the doctor said. Yeah, that it's not like.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think there's something to be said about the fact that in late July was the first time we really saw him. And I asked him about this in the interview. You can check it out. But he was in St. Louis at his basketball camp. That was the first time we saw him on video since the injury. And he had a boot on, So to go from late July, you have a boot on to 2 months later, you're dunking, like it looks really cool to the average person. And it looks like, wow, what an incredible recovery. It doesn't mean that he's way ahead of schedule and that he's undoubtedly going to go back, which is kind of what the Twitter discourse became. But I understand where it came from. And I think I probably reacted similarly because it's like the human body is kind of insane and recoveries are kind of insane to go from literally being in a boot, having this like major surgery to now you're able to do things that like most of us can only dream of,
So around the league, like Drew Smith just came back in Miami incredibly fast and has hit the ground running and looks solid. A couple of Pacers guys have come back and so quickly that you're like, all right, could they have played even sooner than this year beginning? So a handful of guys now have come back fast. I've kept an eye on DeJounte Murray because like his New Year's return is looming here. And I actually talked to someone in New Orleans about that while we were down there. And it was like, all right, is this going to happen here? And he was like, it's how he feels. Does he actually want to come back right now? And like,
is there a chance he doesn't come back this year?
Yeah, because I think a lot of it comes down to how the player feels
Yeah.
and like how ready they are and where they're at ultimately with
But
it.
his was still Murray, who's being rumored Murray, who's being rumored for a January return, had a late January injury. So it's still in that year.
11, 12 months.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean,
and they're not even sure. That's my point, John. They're not even sure he'll be back on New Year's from what I heard down there. So like, there's always that looming, like, all right, here we go. 8 months, 9 months, 10 months. Like the timeline arrives, but where are you actually at that point?
The first thing Noah said, I think, is the most accurate there, which is, and this is where I've always been, is he's using it as fuel, but it's not like, I think people read too much into, he says he wants to play, therefore he's playing. This is his process. I am going to act as if I'm trying to get back this year.
Speaking
and if
into
it happens,
existence.
great.
Yeah.
And if it happens, great. But if I don't have that mentality, is my rehab am I not going to take it as seriously? Am I going to coast?
Right.
Am I going to take days off? So he wired himself to do that, which is the right way to do it because he's not going to shortchange himself on all of it. That's the best part. But you're always going to be up against basically that 10 to 11 month thing and be like, so is he going to come back and try to play in late March and April and just give it a go, or just say, let's call it? And you're going to be right up against that mark most likely late in the year. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, any other thoughts from that interview, Noah? And again, everyone should go check it out. It's on our CLNS Media page, and the article is on SB Nation. But anything else that you kind of, got from talking to him?
No, I think he was pretty reflective about just like what he can do even when he's inactive. Like it was his first time talking since the travel started, and he's been with the team everywhere, and he sat on the bench for the entirety of games. And I've noticed a lot of little things that he's doing to kind of stay connected to fans and things like that. So he was honestly, for someone who doesn't typically open up like a ton of interviews, I thought that he was pretty reflective. So yeah, go check out the interview.
I was just going to say, like, the fact that you scored this, Tatum doesn't give interviews. So like that was unbelievable that you were able to pull that off.
Well done, Noah.
Interview too.
Well done.
I will just say, huge shout out to our producers who salvaged a lot of. We had a lot of technical difficulties, but you'd never know because we have the best team in Ahmed and Richie.
Yeah, Ahmed and Richie.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Unbelievably
Shout out Ahmed and
produced
Richie.
Interviews.
And Bailey. For his
Bailey.
bad takes. Yeah.
I forgot Bailey.
Well, Bailey wasn't involved in this project. Bailey is
What a
great in
jerk.
general.
That
We didn't
sucks,
forget
Noah.
Bailey. He was
I'm sorry. I was specifically talking about that interview.
No.
Bailey, Harrison, the whole team. Come on.
Great job, everybody. Great job, everybody.
What about
George
what
Guy?
about me?
There's some Greek kid that does
Bobby
something that
for the
works
moral
about 10 hours a
support.
week. That Sherrod knew.
Nick.
Nick, all those guys. Anyway, thank
Everyone
you guys
except
for
John.
Well, John, real
John.
quick, I'm looking at a picture of like are they some fans maybe at the game tonight?
Oh, it's again, we'll put it up there. Well,
What we got
once
here?
I get this off here. Hold on, I
Garner
gotta
Ford
remove
t-shirts
this.
in the house.
Oh my god.
We had
Oh
some
my god.
We had some reps.
What is that?
Representation.
These are my roommates.
Look at the thing.
Whoa.
Bobby
No,
was
don't
gonna
tell
add
people.
We
No,
got the Garden
I'm
Report
not-
t-shirts flowing.
You got Boston shirt that I my roommate before she left the house today.
Don't
That's
tell
awesome.
people it's your roommates, Noah.
Damn
No,
it, Noah.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to lose my credibility as a reporter.
You're
I'm just
ruining the illusion.
Sometimes
A lot
you
of
can
people,
just
a lot of people
let the
know my
people
roommate.
run with
She's
the
also a
story.
reporter. So
I just want to
Yeah.
show everybody how good you can look at the game wearing a Garden Report shirt. There you go. That's what you can look like. too.
We
Absolutely.
gave out a lot of those things prior to the opener, so I expect to see some in there sooner than later. Quick shout out all of our sponsors: Prize Picks, #1 daily fantasy sports app all in North America. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Download the app, code CLNS 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup, and get yourself some steaks over at omahasteaks.com. Use the code Patriots at checkout for $35 off. In addition to a 50% site-wide sale that's going on right now, additional 20% off on select items and food boxes and packages. So check that out. Code Patriots. Celtics win, improving to 2-3, defeating the prohibitive Eastern Conference favorite Cleveland Cavaliers in a very convincing 125-105 victory at the Garden, their first home win of the year. Good stuff there. We got games coming up Friday and Saturday, so there's much more Garden Report. Who's Friday, guys? Saturday's Houston.
Philly.
Friday is
Philadelphia.
Friday's Philly.
Philly
Returning
again,
game of
little
Philly.
revenge game.
Revenge.
By the way, Max,
Avenge me.
37 points a game. That is ridiculous.
Maxie's out of his mind right now,
Noah's
so
favorite
that should be a
player.
lot of fun. Yeah,
how did you know that?
that should be a lot of fun.
I just listen.
She likes guard play.
I'm a good
She likes
listener,
guard
Noah.
play.
Attentive listening from Jimmy.
Thank
Per
you,
usual.
Sherrod. Thank you. Thank
I
you,
can't
Bobby.
get a word
Thank
in
you,
once
Noah.
you guys
Thank
get
you,
on the
Rich.
show, so I just listen.
Thank you,
Oh,
Ahmed. Thank you.
That's
Thank
actually
you,
true.
Guy. Thank you, George Danello. Thank you, Nick Gelso. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Harrison. And good night, all. Thank you guys for watching, listening, being cool in the chat. We do appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time.